Hey everyone, my name's Chris Diamantacos. I'm one of the owners here at Clear Cut Fitness, and I'm gonna answer a question that we get asked a lot. What kind of equipment do you use at your gym? Now this question isn't so easy to answer, and that's because we don't just use one thing. We have everything from barbells to kettlebells, bands to stability balls, and so much more. It's important to know that each piece of equipment is a different tool in the toolbox. And everyone's body and goals in fitness and health are different and unique. So what we use with one person, we might not use with someone else. There are some people where we may use almost every piece of equipment that we have. And there are other people that might be more limited in the time being to some specific pieces of equipment. Now I know that doesn't really answer the question, so I want to go through with you some of the most important pieces of equipment that you'll see us use here at Clear Cut Fitness. Now I want you to keep in mind that when you're working out here at Clear Cut Fitness, you're always working out with a coach or trainer. So if you see a piece of equipment that you're unsure of, just keep in mind that your trainer will always help teach you the proper way to do it so that you do it safely, get comfortable, and get strong, doing it the right way so you see the best results. All right, let's get into some of our most important equipment, and I'll explain to you why we use them and why they're so effective. One of the main pieces of equipment that we like to use here at Clear Cut Fitness is the barbell. Now, not everyone uses the barbell, and even the people that use it don't use it all the time. Essentially, the pros to a barbell is that you can load the most weight onto it. So if your focus is strength training, or if we're in a strength phase overall, then the barbell is gonna be your best friend because you can load it the most. You can do many of the same exercises that you would do with the barbell with dumbbells or kettlebells, but the difference is it's harder to load them as heavy as this. Dumbbells and kettlebells have their own advantages that are a little bit different than the barbell. Here's a quick example of a barbell exercise that we would normally do. Just your typical back squat. You get under the bar, unrack it, step back, get your comfy foot stance. Deep breath in, brace your abs, pretend like someone's gonna kick you in the stomach. Squat down and up. Now this is not a squat tutorial video. I'll link that one in the corner here. Another thing we can do with the barbell for the upper body is overhead press. Squeeze the glutes, chest up, that's so that you have a nice stable base to press off of, and then you press overhead. Another one is bent over barbell rows. Make sure you keep it straight back. You don't want to be rounded like this. Straight or neutral.
We also use dumbbells a lot here at Clear Cut Fitness. Some of the pros to using dumbbells over anything else is that they start really light. So if you're a beginner, it's easy to get you into position with a dumbbell. You can also choose to use 1 or 2 dumbbells for most exercises. So it gives you a little bit of variation in terms of weight, in terms of range of motion, in terms of different angles to focus on, that type of stuff. It also offers a few different things versus a barbell. A barbell is just one solid piece that your entire body is putting its force into. And that's one of the reasons why max strength is usually best trained on something like a barbell, because you're putting your full body's force into one implement. Now, if you split that up and you're putting your full body's force into 2 implements, all of a sudden you're going to lose a little bit of that max strength because you're not concentrating it all onto 1, you're concentrating it all onto 2.
Here are a couple really quick exercises that we like to do with dumbbells. Rack position squats. We can do overhead press. We can do bent over rows. We can also do that with 1 dumbbell. We can do a goblet squat. We can do a bent over row, or with 1 arm, Same thing with an overhead press. It's a lot harder to do single-sided things with a barbell because basic physics tells you that the longer implement and you holding it in the middle makes it a lot more difficult to balance, and the bar will want to sway. So we use a dumbbell, and it's a lot better and easier to stabilize. You'll get more effective results using a dumbbell for single-sided things. The next thing here is a kettlebell. And guess what? You can pretty much do the same stuff with it, right? So I'll show you an example. You can do a goblet squat like this. Usually you would do overhead press single arm with a kettlebell. You can still do your rows. Now the kettlebell is different in a few aspects. One, the weight, unlike a barbell or dumbbell, is underneath the handle. And that changes the way that you're going to perform the exercise. So a row, for example, it's much easier to start using your traps and row up, but you really have to focus on your lats to row back. But it's harder to do that with a kettlebell because of the weight distribution. Now the main benefit for using a kettlebell is to start doing power exercises. So power is a quality of fitness, just like how strength and endurance and cardio is. And essentially what it means is force times velocity, and that means that we have to use force and a certain amount of speed, or velocity in this case, to get that dumbbell up. Now power is actually force times velocity. So we need to apply a certain amount of force at a certain velocity, right? A certain pace, a certain speed, whatever you want to call it, in order to actually do a proper rep. So kettlebell swings come into play. You can't slowly do a kettlebell swing. It's not going to happen. You're going to start using your lower back and your shoulders, which you don't want. The purpose is to get your hips quickly and strongly snapping forward so that it creates momentum and the kettlebell goes up. There are so many other power exercises that we love with this. For example, single arm and doing snatches and things like that. But as you can see, the kettlebell is unique because you can't just muscle that up. And if you do, you have a high likelihood of injuring yourself. So it teaches you the technique that helps you with almost any sort of athletic performance endeavor, because you have to use speed and strength and coordination to get that weight up. Now it's also great for fat loss because it really sparks your metabolism once you have to maximally squeeze and maximally contract those muscles. So the kettlebell is actually a very versatile tool. It's not the best tool for most strength exercises, but once you have a certain base level of strength and then you want to start gaining power out of it, this is great. On top of that, like I mentioned, it helps you a lot with burning fat because it just stokes your metabolism. You can do Tabata with this, but the thing with power that people mess up a lot is that you have to rest a lot for power exercises to actually become more powerful. If you start getting tired, then it serves more as a muscular endurance thing, bit of cardio, than it does for improving your kettlebell performance. This is a resistance band. There are many types of resistance bands. This is the one that we probably use the most. That's because it's fairly light, but it's still more resistance than what you would do for body weight. It's also great for working some of the smaller muscle groups, and also great for a lot of physio type exercises where you're trying to focus in on a smaller muscle group. So a couple examples that we use it for is for some shoulder strength and mobility exercises, such as face pulls. Exercises that we don't want to be too heavy and too difficult, but something that you can do a lot of reps of and really feel a burn. Now we can also use it for regular resistance training. For example, overhead press, squats. And again, bent over rows. Now we also use bands for things like accommodating resistance, but that's a little bit more advanced and we're not going to talk about that right now. Now here we also have mini bands. So here's a super mini band, and then here's a more padded one. It's going to be a little more durable. I think it's woven, I don't know, woven with some sort of material. I'm not going to lie and pretend like I know what it is. A classic one that we use here is put it around the knees, and it helps activate the external rotators of the glutes and also just glute stability as well. You can do your lateral walks. That's one typical example. I'm sure you guys have seen that exercise a million times on Instagram. This is a Plyo Box, or a plyometric box, or just a step, whatever the hell you want to call it. It's very sturdy, so it will support you and a bunch more weight. Now we use it for a couple things. It's great for some beginners who are just learning how to squat, because it helps them feel roughly the range of motion that they need to be on to get a proper squat. This is actually a little high. We would technically want it lower. It depends on the person. Now you can also load that up big time and turn it into what we call a box squat. So you have the bar on your back. That's a great exercise that we do for improving strength. Now, like the name suggests, Plyo Box means you'll be doing some sort of plyo work on it. A very effective but simple exercise. It doesn't look like you're doing much, but really this is the base to a lot of athletic performance, is something called a depth jump, where you're literally just dropping off and you're learning to absorb the impact with your muscles. And that's because eventually, in the long run, as you get more efficient in that, you'll be able to explosively use the energy that you get from landing on the ground to give you a quicker step, or a more powerful, strong step, whatever you need it for. So that looks like this. You want to land nice and quiet. So I don't want you using your joints to absorb everything like this. And then I even felt my knee a little bit there, like not in a good way. So this is the right way. You can also do the classic box jump that everybody does. Next up is the TRX. I have a love-hate relationship with the TRX. It's really, really good for some exercises. It gives you a unique stimulus in some ranges of motion that you wouldn't regularly get with almost any other piece of equipment. It's also very versatile. You can do a lot of different exercises on it. However, my main gripe is that people make it seem like it's the best thing since sliced bread, and it's gonna get you in shape more than anything else. That's how it's marketed, and that's not really the case. It's great if you have nothing else. It's better than doing just body weight. It allows you to do more things. But when you have a gym full of equipment, this should be used sparingly, only in some times. And I'll show you a couple examples of exercises that we do use it for. It's great for something called inverted rows. Rowing yourself up. There's many different variations of this exercise. This is just one. You can do push-ups with it too. Now, push-ups are actually quite hard on this, so we don't give it often, only if you're pretty advanced, and even so, it's not great for strength. It's a mixture of a lot of rotator cuff, a lot of chest and tricep isolation, and even your core to keep you tight. Looks something like this. It's also great for some core exercises. You can use it as a little bit of help for doing something like a pistol squat. Or use it as a little bit of help, a little bit of balance for just a single leg split squat. This is the Airdyne bike. We don't use a lot of conditioning equipment here at Clear Cut Fitness, but this is one of the ones that we love. Now you can do anything with this that you would do on a normal bike, but the difference is that it's actually air resistant with the big fan here, which is pretty cool. And on top of that, we actually like it to perform max watts. That's because a regular bike is great for doing max watts of pretty much just your legs, and a rowing machine is the mix of legs and back. But if you want to give all out everything you have, using your arms to push, pull, your legs to push, pull, and your core to coordinate all of that together, it really gives you a full body workout for conditioning or for testing what your true max wattage is that you can output. I don't know if you can hear me, but this is great for a few reasons. One, we can test the max wattage that you can output with your body because it uses your legs, your arms, and your core. It's also great to just kind of warm up with slowly. It gets the blood flowing around your full body. It's also great as a conditioning tool. So we like to go intervals of maybe 10 seconds on to 30 seconds off, and then slowly change those intervals as you get better. But at the same time, something like this, it's really tough. So we might go all out for 10 seconds. And then you rest. Next up is the cable machine. You can do so many things with a cable machine. But we only have one, and that's because it shouldn't be used as your main type of exercise unless you have special indications which otherwise tell you to do that. But for the average person who doesn't have any specific limitations, using the cable machine should only be used sparingly, just like the TRX. So a couple exercises that we like are isolation type exercises. So if you want to get the triceps, you can get the full stretch here and the full contraction at the top. You can also do single arm rows. I like to do these in the split stance, half kneeling. This works all the back muscles, the abs and obliques to stabilize, and even a little bit of biceps as well. We got so many different attachments. The rope, the double handles for doing, obviously, exercises with both hands, and so on and so forth. Okay, that video was way longer than I thought it would be. I just wanted to give you guys a couple examples of why we can't just tell you one thing that we do here at Clear Cut Fitness. And there's so many more pieces of equipment that I didn't even show you. We also use chains. We also use stability balls. We also use slam balls. There's so many things. The point is, we use whatever piece of equipment that we need to help you see maximum results and have fun with your training at the same time.